Well, Chuck Schumer had some very good statements on the floor of the Senate about this whole debacle that's taken place now with Biden at the State of the Union saying that some Republicans want to sunset all federal programs, specifically Medicare and Social Security, if they're not renewed every 5 years, which comes from Rick Scott, senator from Florida's Rescue America plan. And before we look at Chuck Schumer's statement about that subject, where Republicans denied it, and then we figure out, no, Biden was absolutely correct. Why were they screaming at him during the State of the Union about him being a liar when he was being factual with what he was saying? Before we get to the Schumer clip, here is this moment from the State of the Union.
Instead of making the wealthy pay their fair share, some Republicans want Medicare and Social Security to sunset. I'm not saying it's a majority. Let me give you, anybody who doubts it, contact my office. I'll give you a copy. I'll give you a copy of the proposal. That means Congress doesn't vote. Well, I'm glad to see.
So then we discussed on this show about how when you dive into the specifics of statements Republicans have made, the plan of Rick Scott, you realize Biden was absolutely accurate in that moment. Well, Chuck Schumer weighed in on this whole situation, as you'll see here.
Are House Republicans going to put Social Security and Medicare on the table in exchange for the debt ceiling? Well, last week, Republicans erupted like wild hornets during the State of the Union when President Biden pointed out the obvious, that many within their own party have been very open about wanting to target security and Medicare, Rick Scott being among them, and he was the leader of the National Republican Senate Campaign Committee. But listen to this one. If you think this is just a few people, a few dangerous people doing this, dangerous on Social Security and Medicare, that is, the Republican Study Committee, which includes a majority of House Republicans, at least half. This is not some fringe group, but half of the entire House conference released a budget last year that proposed raising Social Security retirement age, cutting benefits to certain recipients, and even privatizing some parts of Social Security. Let me say that again, because this, I don't know if it's been reported, but it's astounding. The Republican Study Committee, including a majority of House Republicans, released a budget just last year that proposed raising the Social Security retirement age, cutting benefits to certain recipients, and even privatizing some parts of Social Security. And almost as if to prove President Biden correct, Senator Johnson of Wisconsin reacted to the State of the Union by going on radio and calling for annual votes on Social Security, calling it a Ponzi scheme. Let me say that.
And he's absolutely correct. This is actually a story we discussed previously before this most recent kind of inflammation of the topic, but you can see here from Business Insider, the Republican Study Committee, made up of House conservatives, issued a detailed plan in 2022 called the Blueprint to Save America that would raise the retirement age to receive benefits under Social Security and Medicare. It also involved decreasing Social Security benefits over time and for higher earning retirees, as well as increasing Medicare premiums for some. And that's a prominent organization, as Chuck Schumer noted, that so many of these very same politicians who are booing Trump are a part of, and that's what they were putting forward. And one of the analogies I think I made in the past on the show, but Ben and I were talking about, with this whole gaslighting thing that Republicans are doing about the issue of Medicare and Social Security, is it's as if I said about Ben, okay, producer Ben, I said, I dislike everyone with the name Ben. And then Ben naturally would go, hey, you dislike me? And I would go, I never said I disliked you. I never said that. I never said I disliked you. I just said I dislike all people with the name Ben. That's what they're doing with this. They're going, we think that all federal programs, Rick Scott will say, should sunset if they're not renewed after 5 years. So people go, wait, do you think Medicare and Social Security should sunset after 5 years if they're not renewed by Congress? Which this would be held hostage and those programs would be at risk. And he goes, I never said that. I never said that. Nope, I didn't say that specifically. I said, we should look at all entitlements, which is what we're talking about there. It is so enraging. And then you hear behind the scenes, they're saying, gosh, we would just love to be able to cut those entitlements. The Republican Study Committee putting forward a budget that would do just that, cutting benefits and all these different instances. And then you ask them directly, but I didn't say I wanted to cut Medicare and Social Security. I just said I wanted to cut things that give individuals over the retirement age benefits with Social Security and health. Obviously not that, but they will say everything other than specifically, yes, I want to cut either the benefits or altogether Medicare and Social Security. And I really hope people aren't being deceived by that dishonesty. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before all the clips are uploaded to YouTube, plus get the full bonus show every single Saturday, you can do so by going to patreon.com/Luke Beasley. That's patreon.com/Luke Beasley. Link in the description.